this meeting to order. For those that you can stand, please stand for the pledge. Remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mrs. Bramsey?
Yes.
Ms. Castillo?
Yes.
Ms. Irby? Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Bieszki? Yes. Mr. Sawecki?
Yes.
We have 6 members present, 1 absent.
Welcome to the Board of Education meeting. The board meets and conducts school business in public. The public is invited to watch and listen to the board, deliberate, and vote on the agenda items scheduled for action and discussion. Although the board meets in public, this is not a meeting for the public to participate. It's a meeting for the members of the board to conduct business. If there are any citizens in the audience who wish to be recognized by the board for the purpose of making a statement or asking a question, this is the appropriate place on the agenda. Citizens should fill out a public input card and give it to the board president prior to the start of the meeting. Please step to the podium, state your name, and proceed with your statement. Per policy, each person will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. No response may be given at this time. This is not a time for making complaints about employees. Employee complaints should be referred to the administration in writing. Theresa Benham.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Theresa Benham. I come to you tonight to speak from many perspectives. I started as a parent in this district, became a volunteer, became an employee, hired in December of 1996, and I've worked at all levels within the district. I'm the parent of 2 alumni, class of 2004 and 2006, and I am currently a grandparent of my 8th grade granddaughter. In all this time, I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. The last several years have been so positive for our district. Staff morale has been at level the likes I've never witnessed. Good publicity has been so very good for us. You can feel the morale rising again with Mr. Whelton back at the helm. It can be felt. We can and must continue on this road. We got to keep this momentum moving forward. A superintendent who knows nearly all students and staff by name speaks volumes. My superintendent wouldn't have known who I was from Adam, let alone did I know his name. So that is to be commended. After being reinstated on January 26, 2026, Mr. Whelton's first order of business on January 27, 2026 was to visit his students and his staff at all the buildings. I leave you with this. I'm going to share a photo that you may or may not have seen. After seeing the photo I shared, goosebumps and all, if in your heart of hearts, you can still honestly say, this man does not belong in that chair, I, along with many others, will be very
Time
disappointed.
is up. I'm sorry, I didn't
Thank you.
pay attention to the 20-second mark.
Thank you. Brandon Sweeney.
Good evening. I'm going to use part of my time tonight to say something that shouldn't be controversial, but apparently still needs to be said out loud. Racist language and racial overtones have no place in this room. They don't belong anywhere near this school district, not in public comment, not in the parking lot afterward, not on Facebook, not in whispered side conversations that people play off as just a joke. 2 weeks ago, we had somebody step up to this podium and refer to human beings as monkeys. That doesn't just insult a person. It tries to strip them of their humanity. It tries to turn them into something less than. And not just them. It sends a message to every kid and every family watching. You might be next. You might not be safe here. And it kills me that this is even part of our community's conversation. Because we're not talking about some abstract national debate. We're talking about the place where we educate our children. And I think we all need to recognize just how dangerous that rhetoric is. Now, there's something else that needs to be addressed. Last week, Ms. Castillo said that reinstating Mark Whelton before the complainants were notified that there was no wrongdoing would be a slap in the face to those complainants. I want the public to hear this clearly. Amy Morales solicited the original 3 complaints against Superintendent Mark Whelton from her family and friends. And that's the real slap in the face to this district. That's not accountability. It's $18,000 out the window to investigate complaints she herself went out and encouraged friends to file. If I'm wrong, then I guess it was just a coincidence that John Ayala attended Amy Morales' recall hearings with her. And if naming complainants bothers you, you shouldn't have named Patty Bullock 2 weeks ago in open session. If leadership is confident that this was handled appropriately, then please put the timeline on record. Who initiated contact? Who did they contact? When? And what role the board president played? The investigator told us that Ms. Morales herself received one of the complaints on November 13th, but on November 21st, she claimed she did not know what any of the complaints were, that none of us do. She lied. It's that simple. I told you all back then that she was lying, and we just paid an independent investigator $18,000 to tell us all the exact same thing.
20 seconds.
Amy Morales lied to each of you and to this entire community. At this point, I'm in pure disbelief that any member of this board believes a word she says. She used all of you too. Thank you.
Candace Jacobson.
Short. Good. Hi, my name is Candace Jacobson. I am the Attendance, Athletics, and Discipline Secretary at the high school, for those of you that do not know me. One of the things that I hear from the board over and over is that we don't like where academics are headed, we don't like where the athletics are headed, and stuff like that, and I'm here to address that. Just so you know that we did just poll the last 4 years of attendance for the district, and looking at that, just at last year, which is also reflective of the year prior and the year prior to that, we had 705 students with 20 or more absences. So that's a 48.7% of our district is considered truant. This year, under the direction of Mark Whelton, we have 108 students in that same parameter. That's a 7.9% of our district. And we are actually diligently working toward getting those kids back in school. We actually have one student in the high school I know of. He missed basically all of last year and most of this year. He now comes every single day because we put in the effort to get him back. So that is an improvement on our attendance. In middle of January, I went to a conference by Saginaw ISD about chronic absenteeism. And there is a direct correlation between being absent and poor test grades. So if we look at academics, we can't actually view the academics when we have a 48% truant school, okay? We are on the way to improvement, but improvement takes time, okay? In addition to that, with our athletic programs, we are the only school that actually creates programs that are specific to each game to announce all these things in there. And this year we even introduced electronic programs. So you can scan it with a QR code, you can have it on your phone right there at the game. We are improving on our athletic program within all sports each and every day. We are making moves to do that. But the problem is, some of those moves require a district approval. We would love to get a communication platform that increases the communication between coaches and parents, between the whole entire district. You can have any club, all the students, you can have live photos. It's a really cool technique, but I need district approval for that. How am I supposed to take that to my superintendent when he can't say yes if he's not here? We need him to have that contract. We need it to happen today. Like, enough is enough, because I can't plan for the improvements for next year and the year on if I don't have someone to take those improvements to for approval. Thank you.
Board recognition, Principal Haynes.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Sheldor Haynes. I'm the principal at Atkins Elementary, 2nd through 5th grade building. Thanks to Ms. Jacobson for explaining that whole attendance thing. I'm here to recognize attendance. These students that I'll be calling their names have missed 0 days during the second marking period. 9 weeks is a long time. 9 weeks is a long time to be showing up every day for something, right? Especially when you're 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, right? It's cold outside. People don't want to wait at the bus stop. But these folk got here every day during the second market period. So if you don't mind, I'll call these names. Look, it's a lot of names.
Right?
And if you hear your name, can you please come and grab your certificate? Natheo Torres, Ariana Thompson, Joseph Teniyuke, Taylor Scott, Alexander Alanese, Ryan Menzie, Chloe Gronick, Ahanas Burns, and Tyeria Ahmad. Those were 5th graders from Mr. Roach's class. Mr. Cassidy's class, Grayson Pongrantz, Autumn Nichols, Rain McGee, she's here. Come on, Rain. Emilio May Padilla, Nicholas Clark, Harper Barnes, Jalen Wiggins, Niari Joshua, Alana Slade Martin, and that was a thick one. Those are Mr. Cassidy's friends. From Miss Brookins' class, 4th grade teacher, Ariel Smith, Aiden Parks, Kylie Kidwell, Lauren Howard, Jaden Hopkinson, Aaliyah Hayes, Jordan Davis, Nazadia Claudio, and Ariel Williams. From Ms. Jones's 2nd grade class, Lee Walton, Kyrie Thornton, Kaiser Perkins, Kelly Kellogg, Easton Falk, and Torier Burnett. In Ms. Namer's third grade class, Carter Calloway, Royal Lynn Bailey Seiler, Connor Roberson, Seth Donald, Sabrina Brown, and Carmelo Hibbler. From Ms. Weaver's fifth grade class, Nevaeh McDougal, Cash Donald, Kane Ayala, Aaron Thompson, Sonny Caffey, Cadence Greer, and Corey Phillips. I got some more. From Ms. Christensen's second grade class, Kamani Harris, Allure Gail Thompson, Marcus Elamine Jr., Jace Donald, Dexter Cullen III, Caden Carter, Donald Booz, and Malachi Leapart. From Mrs. Scherf's third grade class, Jaleel Taylor, Honora Griffin, and Noah Kassam. From Miss Spooner's class, Dominique Young, Braylon Long, Elijah Haynes, Darius Evans, Maya Bradley, Annabelle Beck, Caden Kramer, give it up for Caden. And Ellis McGee. Ellis is here. Ellis is here. And then I put it down. There you go. Good job, sir. From Miss Hartley's second grade class, Gianno Vargas, Eli Toyzan, Jada Sims, Javier Robinson, Jair Goody, Jace Gates, Serenity Frazier, Philip Eason, Rain Davis, Liera Abraham, Celestino Rivera, and Jace Colehagen. Almost to the bottom. Thank you for your patience. From Mrs. Winling's class, second grade, Amoria Broden, Nico Carruthers, Knox Hayes, Xavier Jackson, Rayshawn Kirkland, Isabella Ortega, Jesse Rosas Gonzalez, Martino Torres, Genesis Wicker, Paris Hogg, Kingston Jackson, Calvin Kemp, and Pierre Martinez. From Miss Beatty's class, Keith Winfield Moore and Maurice Harris. Miss Wallace's fourth grade class, Tyeris Ahmad and Aurora Brown. From Miss Schuster's fourth grade class, Aiden Kassam, Faith Cameo, and Eddie Bowens. And last but not least, Miss Murphy's third grade class, Paige Brown, Malaya Hall, Lenny Hayes, Kamani Johnson, Isaiah Lynn, Jameson Minor, Sage Robinson, and James Smith IV. I also wanted to say, so that concludes all of my awards, but I also wanted to say that there were a ton of students who had up to 3 absences, and so they were nearly perfect. The stack was probably bigger than this, and we gave those out during our morning meeting. So I just want you to know that Ms. Booker and Mr. Whelton and the initiatives that we have going are really getting kids in school. So thank you for your support.
Agenda adjustments. I have one to add. making a motion for an agenda adjustment for roll call to be alphabetical order, board member last name, to keep that consistency there. Looking for a second. So to move it from officers and trustees by service years to alphabetical order.
So moved.
So second, I made the motion. So Tammy second.
Yes.
Any discussion on that?
Is there a reason why we would not want to go back to a rotating order?
Just to follow the greatest and the latest and greatest Robert's Rules of Order. Keeping consistency that way, it is always just alphabetical. So that way we're not flip-flopping or anyone's, no changing again.
Okay.
So I was gonna add that motion there in number 5A.
I have two I would like to make as well.
We'll do this one first, one at a time.
Okay.
So in order to add the motion to change roll call to alphabetical order, last name as opposed to officers, and then trustees by service years. Any other discussion?
This is just to add it to the agenda, correct?
I'm sorry?
This is just to add it to the agenda, correct?
Correct. In order to add this then, any other discussion on that? Current roll call, please.
Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mrs. Breamsey?
Yes.
Ms. Castillo?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Bieshke? Yes. Mr. Sawatsky?
Yes.
We have 6 votes yes, 0 votes opposed.
Motion has passed to add. We'll do that right after the agenda adjustment. Doing it 5A, please. Any other agenda adjustments?
Yes. I'd like to move the payment to the investigator Alan Talganoff and to Truant Law be temporarily suspended pending confirmation of board authorization and review by the Michigan Attorney General, and that the consent agenda items reflect payment of these bills will be adjusted accordingly. Specifically, that the Attorney General is being requested to do the following: whether proper board authorization existed for any agreement or expenditures initiated, signed, or authorized by the board president, and whether any payments related to these matters were appropriately authorized by the board in advance in accordance with board policy and applicable law and approved in an open meeting of the Board of Education.
So your motion to add to the agenda adjustment is to suspend payment.
Specifically from Mr. Talganoff and Truant Law. And requesting an investigation by the Attorney General to validate that they were in fact appropriately authorized.
That would be a separate motion.
No,
So
it's one
first, the
motion.
suspend the payments would be the first motion.
I have a motion on the floor, ma'am.
Recommended action is to add to the agenda to suspend payments for Truant Law and Talgenhart.
Would you please read the motion as I presented it, please?
So your motion is to suspend payments as well as create and populate an investigation in regards to their payment.
No.
That's not what it says.
I have it in writing in front of you. And I have asked
Say it
for
one more
them.
time.
Do you not have a copy of it in front of you?
What was this, what you're getting me?
I am asking the payment be suspended until the Michigan Attorney General has the ability to make the identification requested in the motion.
So motion is on the table as written for item number 1.
Support.
So you'd be first. So moved. Recommended action.
So moved.
I moved. As I read it, I said, I move that.
So Lang and Tammy. Discussion.
Mr. Talgenhoff has already completed his investigation, so why would we suspend or not pay him for his investigation? And also, it seemed as though everyone had good things to say about him. Are we all not satisfied with,
It is not a measure of the quality of workmanship. It is, the purpose is to ensure that all agreements and expenditures were properly authorized by the board before public funds are distributed. This has to do with a matter of contract law. I am not an attorney, that's why I would like it reviewed.
well, it's also in the bylaws that, the president is, the official recipient of correspondences.
Yes,
And with, as we all voted yes for Mr. Talkenhoff to,
that does not constitute a contract. The contract, in fact, was, the offer was made on November 26th, not November 21st. You did not vote on a contract. You voted on engaging him into a work relationship that did not yet solidify a contract. There could not have been a contract on the 21st because there was no offer made.
So board president, policy 1001, board president is to sign the board-approved transactions. It was
Only
a
after
board-approved transaction, and to sign the papers and the documents,
I don't want to debate the
legally,
merits
it
of this
goes to
argument.
the board, it falls to the board president. And it would not have been in the district's it's not in the district's best interest to delay an investigation just to wait for duplicate and unnecessary board action, which already had taken place. It exposes the district to liability for breach of contract.
I do not dispute that a contract exists. The question is with whom?
The question is what?
With whom? A contract exists. I will not argue that fact.
The board voted 5-2 to hire Talgenhoff,
The exact motion reads,
party investigator.
please listen, the motion approved by the board said that the Board of Education approves the appointment of Alan Talgenoff to handle a fact-finding investigation. The appointment does not make a contract. That is a fact.
Well, the fact is also, you're exposing the district to liability since
I am not exposing the district to anything,
legal
ma'am.
district council was was actually in person, heard the 5-2 vote.
Ma'am, you are welcome to argue
Sir,
this.
hold on, I'm speaking. They heard that, and so now it's gonna expose the district to liability for breach of contract.
No, it will not.
Hold the payment.
It will not expose the district. A contract exists, but it does not exist with the district. It exists with you personally.
No, it does
Yes.
not. I am district representative.
No, you are not in this case.
According to the board policy, board president signs any approved transaction.
Madam President, if you're so confident of that, then why don't you just say yes and let the Attorney General make the decision?
Well, that's
What's in the bylaws?
It's pretty
in
simple.
the bylaws, and so you're going against the bylaws.
I am not.
Tammy even vouched for Talgenhoff with the fact, again, it was 5-2. So know that this vote here exposes the district to withhold payment for services already done when our district council even heard that and at that night said, I will contact him and get this going.
You're welcome to your opinion, ma'am.
Yep.
I've done sufficient
Is
research.
there any other discussion?
Yeah, that night on November 21st, though, the attorney was supposed to meet with us all, and we were not told the truth of why we were actually meeting with the attorney. We were told it was for the 31AA. So of course, we said no on it because we already knew what his opinion was on that. So then you met with him alone. So that's why with Trune and Trune, I'm not happy regarding paying them.
So that is your vote if you want to hold payment to the investigator,
Well, that would be part of that motion.
right? That's
Full payment from the investigator and from.
Investigator and Trune.
mhm.
Correct.
So basically, yep, everyone is saying, so you're good with breach of contracts? Interesting. Any other discussion or questions? So this is to add motion. We would do that B. So we're gonna vote then, are we going to add this
And
motion?
Amy, you just have
tonight's
to remember
agenda.
too, it just says temporary while Michigan Attorney General takes a look at it. It's not saying that they won't get paid. It's just saying right now, just putting it on hold. Okay? Because the Attorney General, they should be looking at this.
Again, motion to add to the agenda as presented. So if we're gonna add as listed here for item number 1, any other questions? Discussion? Yes, it would, well, if it gets added, we would move it to B, correct? Hearing none, Robin, a roll call to add this to the agenda.
Ms. Morales?
No.
Mrs. Breamsey?
No,
Ms. Castillo?
No.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mrs. Bieshke?
Yes?
Mr. Sawatsky?
Yes.
3 votes yes, 3 votes opposed.
Motion did not pass. Any other agenda adjustments?
Yes. I move that the board recognize that a complaint involving a board officer raises governance and process considerations independent of employment and discrimination law, including board authority, conflicts of interest, confidentiality, protections, and procedural integrity. I further move that the board acknowledge that receipt of the district's council guidance and recognition that such guidance addresses a narrow legal question did not resolve broader governance and process responsibilities of the board. Direct that no further action be taken by district council regarding this matter. Authorize a limited independent review focused solely on governance process, confidentiality, safeguards, and adherence to board policy and conflict of interest principles. Any such review shall be conducted by individuals or council with no prior involvement in the matter in order to ensure impartiality, maintain public confidence. The superintendent is authorized to execute the engagement consistent with board policy and this vote. Direct that any future handling of complaints involving board members be constructed under procedures that preserve independence, confidentiality, and public trust, particularly where a board officer is the subject of a complaint.
Motion on the table for
Support.
item number 2.
It's been supported already.
Support. Discussion.
Yeah, I just wanted to just remind you of why Ms. Bronzy should be removed as far as taking care of that complaint investigation. Just want to remind you, we never had a closed section excluding the said person to discuss the matter, and there was never a motion to appoint her, and never was approved by the board. That is a violation of conflict of interest policy bylaws, and I have emailed everyone said violations, so you guys should have took a look at that as well.
So that is factually incorrect. The bylaw states that the vice president will have the powers and the duties of the president during the temporary absence or disability of the president.
Now, when she has a
President
close
Morales is
relationship.
abstaining. I personally am abstaining from involvement, and that falls then, chain of command falls to the vice president, according to the bylaws and the policies.
Not when the president told her she was doing it, and you guys are close.
If it's in the bylaws, if she had to direct.
Not if
to the
you need to
bylaws,
read the
whether she
whole
said it or not,
thing.
it's in the bylaws.
It's a
So the
conflict of
vice-
interest.
Hold on, the vice president did not investigate the complaint herself.
Nor did the president. She
Yeah.
just reminded me of the chain of command, and that it would fall to me as far as moving it forward. But it's in the bylaws. Her telling me does not change the bylaws.
She's authorized, in my
It's a
absence,
violation.
temporary absence, to contact district legal counsel for advisement. It's under bylaw 1001. It's the chain of command. And then if she's not available, the next officer would fall in place. It's listed there. That is the chain of command. Chain of command falls to the next person in line.
We were supposed to have a closed section, we did not. We were
Don't have
supposed to
I asked
motion.
I asked for public.
No,
I
Yes,
said
for
no to
public.
closed session.
but we're supposed to have a closed section to discuss it.
She didn't
You
want
do
it.
We
not.
never did.
No, you don't.
want
You're
closed
factually incorrect. You do not
Okay.
understand
She
that.
was,
I'm not gonna argue this, I already said what I was gonna
against,
do.
and she didn't want closed session.
You have to understand that no matter, there's no guarantee of confidentiality. When a complaint itself is public, it's subject to FOIA.
Well,
Complaints are subject to
you're
FOIA.
supposed to have a closed section to decide on what we were going to do. You guys just went ahead, appointed her
not.
to it,
No,
and she went ahead and took it without it being discussed with the whole board. The whole board is supposed to discuss it, and it never was.
it's in the bylaws, so it's already decided.
I have read the bylaws, and I have read the state laws, and I have also read the policy.
It was in the bylaws before I got here.
Let me contend to you that we all were witnesses to the event in question, so that means that none of us can function unbiased in this position.
Yes, we can.
You cannot.
You can. Yes, you
Right?
can,
Yes,
especially.
you
yes,
absolutely can.
Yes, you can.
You will have the appearance of
I didn't do
impropriety.
any investigating, so how can you
Yeah.
have any bias if you're just giving it to
I
legal
have-
counsel to look at it, how is that bias? I did no investigating. I asked no questions of anyone.
Remember, the board is to elect, if there's a neutral third party, to investigate any alleged complaints, misconduct, anything like that. So it falls to the board to vote on that.
And when it comes to staff, the board wants an environment in the buildings, free from discrimination, free from harassment.
Mhm.
That, right there, there's no bias attached to that. We want everyone to feel comfortable, whether they're working, getting an education. So how can you attach the bias to that? But I did nothing but move it to legal counsel.
You are
I
blamed.
haven't even discussed anything with Ms. Morales. Everything that was discussed the last meeting, the legal opinion that I shared with you all, she did not get a copy of it. She has not seen it. We did not discuss it because I was told that she cannot. That is what the attorneys said. She cannot be a part of that. But she can choose rather to go into closed session or not, and she chose not to. That was her choice. She has that right. As everyone else who comes, they can say yay or nay to closed session.
Yeah, you can't interfere with due process. So, any other discussion or questions? So the vote is now item number 2, to add this to the agenda, add this to tonight's agenda as listed here. Item number 2. It would be, well, we didn't have a B yet, so it would be B, if it goes.
Ms. Morales?
No.
Mrs. Breemsy?
No,
Ms. Castillo?
No.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Bieski?
Yes.
Mr. Sawatsky?
Yes.
3 votes yes, 3 votes opposed.
Motion did not pass. Any other agenda adjustments?
Yes. I do have one. I want to put the motion into a point to renew Mr. Whelton's contract, Mr. Whelton's contract.
Support.
So the motion is to renew.
Mr. Whelton's contract.
Ms. Bieski, for point of clarification, was it the motion or the contract as presented or as amended on?
Correct. The one that's presented.
Okay, thank you.
So you're saying that there is a separate contract that's going to be presented?
It already has been.
It already has been.
The same one that
The
we,
same one we have looked at before that you guys turned down,
The most recent.
the most recent. Mark, you did bring that with you, right?
Any discussion to add to tonight's agenda, it would be 05B, to renew superintendent's contract as previously presented. Hearing none, roll call?
Ms. Morales?
No.
Mrs. Breemsy?
No.
Ms. Castillo?
No.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Bieshki?
Yes.
Mr. Sawatsky?
Yes.
3 votes yes, 3 votes opposed.
Motion did not pass. Any other agenda adjustments? Hearing none, agenda is accepted with a 5A being added. Moving on to 5A. 5A is the motion made for roll call to go alphabetical order opposed to officers and then trustees by years of service. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Robin?
Mrs. Breemsy?
Yes.
Mrs. Bieshki?
Yes.
You have to do the roll call first as the last. It hasn't passed yet.
I thought we already. Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mrs. Breemsy?
Yes.
Ms. Castillo?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Bieshki?
Yes.
Mr. Sawatsky?
Yes.
6 yes votes, 0 votes opposed.
Motion has passed for roll call order to go by last name as opposed to the officers and trustees for roll call going forward. Item 6, state partnership. Update, Mr. Whelton.
Thank you. Something I can talk about here. So CSI, what is it? It's when a building overall has an index score that falls below the state 5% of schools. So I gave the board a 9-page document clearly explaining CSI and everything the school district has done and everything the high school has been doing to address the issues for the school. I want to be transparent with the public that for the past 3 consecutive prior years, we were relatively flat or gaining, and we've spoken about that. We spoke about that during the evaluation, and the positive things that we see coming from our students and our staff are recognized in the NWEA test scores. Tomorrow I will receive some documentation from Archetype Consulting. Archetype did a giant research, doctoral research project on underserved and underprivileged schools, primarily African American student populations. And Tara Shamey, who is the person that researched this, also said in her, I'm about to go into her board meeting, by the way. Tomorrow morning I will send you the data, and I'm happy to talk it through with you. I'm also happy to explain it to your school board. Very few districts in the state showed growth the way your students did. Now, identified by the state is based off of state testing. You have the M-STEP test, you have the SAT test, you have PSAT as well for grades 8, 9, 10. And those tests are one time a year. You better have a good day on April 12th. If you don't, there could be ramifications. So nobody's bragging about our proficiency scores, and I'm not up here bragging about proficiency scores. I will brag about the performance that our kids have from the beginning to the end of the year and the growth. It's undeniable, the data is there. But if you will note that in 2022, our high school index score was 34.09. Our middle school index score by the state was 53.29. Elementary, 40.49, and Thomas White, 84.09. Albeit Thomas White, I love y'all, but it's not like you're taking them step test. So they calculated on very different things for the younger ages. That said, a lot was discussed while I wasn't here about the high school, the middle school, and the elementary, and I would like to clear that up. In 2023, the high school was at 34.53, so we actually increased. And just so you get a sense of what the state gets excited about, an increase of 0.01% is the general expectation they have for schools in our situation. I'll say that one more time, 0.01%. I find that to be appalling. Do you agree? I might see some head shaking, like, come on. And yet, that is a standard at the state. This is what I did for a living. Analysis of this. In 2024 and 2023, the middle school was at 51.93, elementary at 40.86. Thomas White, I think I don't have to talk about you guys anymore. Is that okay with you guys? We'll call you okay right now. 2024, high school was at 33.87. So you see this is relatively stagnant, right? Our scores are relatively stagnant. Middle school, 53.41. Elementary school, 40.75. I found something interesting in being able to analyze this data actually over the last weekend. And in the 2025 testing season in April and May of this year, April for the high school, we dropped roughly 5 points, index points. That was at the high school. The middle school dropped approximately, you want to guess? 5 points. The elementary school dropped approximately 4 points. Now, I don't have access to the test, you don't have access to the test, and the people that do have access to the test, we don't have access to them. So the reality is, it's peculiar. Ms. Jacobson spoke about attendance. Ms. Haynes brought up a whole bunch of names. Great kids, by the way, very proud of them. Tough time to be here every day during the holiday season. And attendance matters. It matters so much that when I notified the board last January at this exact time about the TSI status that the high school was in, part of that, in fact, a lot of that dealt with attendance. And we brought on Jennifer Booker. Great hire. And you heard the difference. So the data that we're looking at is past. We can't change that. Nothing we can do about that. We can live with it and vow not to be in that position again. but it also is data that we were addressing, and we added the vigor of the financial pieces that go behind it a year ago. I'm fairly confident in our attendance changing, and that is district-wide. I was asked, what are we doing about the CSI status? And we are a system here in Bridgeport. We installed a system in 2015 called the Blueprint. Wasn't called the Blueprint back then, but was when I came in as the superintendent in 2018. It's a system that connects building to building, teacher to teacher, family to family, community, entities, and partnerships. It is for all of us. It is not to point fingers at one entity, one grade level, one building. It's for everybody. We're all working in conjunction. Yes, our chronic absenteeism is about 50%. No doubt. That's a problem. Finding solutions to that, schools are all ears, everyone. Up to and including Detroit Public throwing down gift cards. Thanks for showing up for 10 days straight. Here's a gift card. We don't have the added funding that they got from the state of Michigan, canceling all their debts, but we do have great relationships with our kids, and we do get to know our children. And that wasn't a fake picture of me. That's what our staff is like. I just happened to be caught in the moment by a photograph. Chronic absenteeism has historically been around 50%. The shocking nature of that today begs someone to just go look at the history here. If we're longing for the days of 2013, 2014, back when kids came to school regularly, I would help you understand that we were around 50% chronic absenteeism back then. I can tell you that we were around little less than 70% poverty. And we currently are at or above 95% poverty. As a former statistician and a person that investigated this at the state, we can work with that, but we also have to work as a community. We're not lifting just a few kids up in a math class here. We've got to lift everybody up. And I can tell you one way to do it is by being positive. And look at where we are really growing. Last year's juniors on the NWEA test, which we take more than once a year, we take 3 times a year, grew from fall to spring by 60 percentile points. That's a national test. So for a researcher to say, by the way, are you aware that your kids really grew unbelievable amounts? How did that happen? Investigate us, please. We aren't married to a specific test. I can't guarantee that that test on April 12th was one that everyone on that particular day valued. And we missed the mark of proficiency by one student. So if one student scored above where they did, this CSI status that arrived upon my departure wouldn't even be a conversation. That's how important every kid is in Bridgeport. Chronic absenteeism is the problem. If you're not at school, you can't get the education delivered to you, and you're still going to take that test. You still take the test. Doesn't matter. Proficiency, I gave the board a look at proficiency 22, 23, 24, 25. 22 and 23 stagnant, 24 down by 1 point, and 25 down by 3 points in 2 years. That could be 1 or 2 kids different. Now, do we want it that low? No. Nobody's doing backflips for that. We want better than that. We also address a whole multitude of things for our kids and our staff. Same thing on growth. On the state test, for some reason, 2025 didn't go well. Now, I didn't calculate the weather. I didn't go back and look at was it a full moon or anything. But everything matters. So what factors might affect a dip like that in 1 year? I've thought about it. I have theories. I'm sure you're thinking about it right now too. This designation of CSI reflects a building's need for support. We need to address things differently. We need to make some adjustments, no doubt. It's also a historical look. And it doesn't include, oh, you already made adjustments that we won't know about until next November? Yeah. Yeah. And we can certainly overcome 0.01%. I don't have any doubt on that. In 2015, with really focused efforts and a lot of data coaching, and there's what, Andrew, 4 of us left from 2015? 4 people is all that's left in the high school, and I'm one of them from when we last were in this priority situation. But we've managed to have a principal quit on us, utter chaos, teachers' pay was frozen. There wasn't a very good vibe here. And a few of you that are nodding your heads are not from the high school days, but you're at the other schools you remember. And we put systems in place to address these. And so we meet regularly. The label only speaks to what was determined on that day in April for the high school. On that day. It does not erase the work that all of the staff has been doing and they've been launching and they've been engaged in. It doesn't erase any of that. In fact, it opens up the door. Thank you for throwing some money our way to help us even more. Because we will put it to good use. We've been fiscally responsible in that regard. And we put our money into children. What is BHS doing? It's 2.5 pages. If you want me to say everything, I will, but I think it's self-explanatory as you read it, school board. And then on the 7th page is the district initiatives, because they are woven together. As a superintendent, I'm facilitating and greasing the skids for all of the staff ideas that are out there. I'm famous for saying yes, right, Baker? And that's because if it might work, let's give it a go. The worst thing that can happen is it didn't work and we're right back to the same spot we were before. At least we learned something in the trial of trying it out. We do a lot of trying things out in education. It's not just Bridgeport. That's part of being an educator. Try, fail, try again, fail, try again, fail. It's okay. District-wide, we have had goals in our MyKIP plan for several years. Questions were rose about turning paperwork in and whatnot. The MyKIP plan is the plan. It is the only plan. It's all that is submitted, and in reality, it's not really submitted, it's just filled out. It exists on a platform. And it is in constant states of change. It is a plan that has flexibility. We put over $1 million of our budget into multi-tiered systems of support. That is academic. It's also non-academic. We have a lot of trauma that we address. And I appreciate that. I got a little trauma myself. We also have a massive amount of curriculum. It's not one size fits all. And we have turnover. So staff come in, and we have to have a curriculum ready to go for substitute teachers, long-term substitute teachers, for everybody, regardless of their ability to sit down and write lesson plans. I did that. Bob Cassidy did that. Many of us did that. Nobody does that anymore. You can ask AI. It will do it for you. We implement it. We make it come to life. We get the involvement and engagement of our kids. And our initiatives respect that and advance that. And they are plentiful. And this isn't even a comprehensive list. This is what I could do in about 48 hours. It's a team effort. And thank you to the staff and the families and everybody here, because we are all part of the team. We do not raise one person without all of us involved. There isn't a singular entity that makes or breaks anything here. I'm most proud of the troops on the ground, because as we talk about CSI and as we have meetings, and as the elementary is well aware, we have a lot of meetings. So we will be engaged in that quite heavily for 3 years. But it's those troops on the ground that have the ideas. What if I try this? Is that okay? Yeah, give it a go. Maybe that could do some great stuff. I mean, we have chickens. And the kids are bananas about it. It's another food source. Shouldn't use those in the... But chickens, Miss Haynes, we got chicken kids. I wish a chicken back in the day. But that also involves training and support. It also involves building an identity. And like the Buffalo Bills, nobody circles the wagons better than the Bearcats. We rallied. You're proof of it. I'm seeing it. I've seen it. I see you. So within CSI and questions around what do we do, how do we do it, how many meetings are there going to be, I would propose the board consider someone attending these meetings from the board, participating and engaging. This plan is all encompassing, and these meetings happen, at least for my last 2 weeks, twice a week. And I don't see a foreseeable future with it changing. We have to make a staggering number of decisions, and it's the middle of February. I'm sorry that we're here in the middle of February and we were not here in December or January. And yet that doesn't really matter because we're here. Participating in this gives board members the opportunity to hear what the staff is coming up with for ideas. This is not a state takeover. If I hear that throughout the news and anywhere else, that is ludicrous. It's not, there's no such thing as a state takeover. This is a partnership. It's sort of like a friendship with the state. And they help you get things done. And if you have a sticky situation, like, hey, we'd really like to do this, make a few phone calls, let's free this up so they can go do some great things for kids. That's what a partnership with the state is. So there are a lot of meetings. There is a lot of planning. And albeit the coordination with the middle school and elementary school is incredibly important, we do need to square away some things at the high school. No doubt. And we can do that this year. A trip down memory lane for a couple of you would take you to 2015. In January of 2016, and we had a real dragon breathing down our neck with the school reform office. They actually did send a letter threatening to shut the school down. And we rallied. We formatively assessed. And we pulled it together, not in years, not in weeks or months, but it was down to the days. We did it every day. And we nailed, that was the ACT then, we nailed that ACT that year. That was when the state was allowing you to just do good and then they would get off your back. So we can do it in a matter of days and weeks. We did it by the relationships that we had with kids and believing in one another as a staff. Today, it's a 3-year partnership. It's setting goals that impact lives for 3 years into the future. So where we are at is the very beginnings. But for anybody that can hear, this does not define us. It doesn't. It's resetting some of our thinking, and it's changing our conversation with kids and staff, and it's organizing our MyKit plan, that is ever changing. So clarity on CSI and where we're at comes from being part of the conversation. So I invite no more than 3 board members, because we can't do that, but if any number of board members up to 3 to participate in meetings with the state of Michigan. Even call our person a pal. The pal. Call the pal. You got good acronyms for everything now. Your partnership liaison. And she's wonderful. Her name is Lazel. Sounds like Diesel. Wait, I didn't say it right. Diesel. But her name is Liesel. But I got to work on that. The high school has some things that they got to get done. I know the question was about some data came up. I wasn't really paying attention in the meeting 2 weeks ago, so I apologize for that. But that data is going to come, and I welcome sharing that data and getting that information out. I also welcome the school board reaching out to the superintendent directly with questions that might be on your mind. In all of the superintendents in the state of Michigan, you might have maybe the only one that's supported districts in this process more than once. And that was my job, and I did it well. But we didn't get here by one person. We aren't going to get out by one person. We got to operate as a family, so I invite you to join in with the family. The other thing that I want to make sure we square away, because we have staff here and evaluations and all the world of evaluations creeps up on us fast. And we use NWEA testing to look at growth in our evaluations. We do not look at proficiency. And I can't wait till Tara Shamey sends me that for you guys, staff. The board, it'll be nice for everybody to know, but staff know. Our kids start out at the bottom of Mount Everest, people. I'll name other districts. Next door, they're flying in on helicopters, getting dropped off halfway up because they don't have to worry about food. They don't have to worry about a situation at home or no bed or any of that. They get dropped off halfway up. We moved 63 points nationally. The average is less than double digits for our student population. And I'm not forgetting that, because that is important. Because maybe we didn't get but a little farther than halfway up. We also did it together on our own, and we scrapped and clawed. Our kids do a lot of wonderful things over the course of a year, and the state is more than happy to tell us they don't. And I don't buy into that. Every one of you that has children, that's the best that you got. If you got something better, let me know. I got 5. That's all I got. It's not magic. It's not rocket science. We get the kids to school regularly, on time, ready to go, offer very good learning opportunities in a place they can call home, and we can raise any scores up. Even if they don't get to the top of Mount Everest, you know, going 63 points in a year shouldn't be investigated. Investigate us for all the great stuff that we accomplished with kids that the data says should never have gone that far. And our own state should be amazed at that. And I apologize to our society that they're not. Thank you, Ms. Morales, for allowing me to share that update.
Thank you, Mark. Number 7. So, pass those down, please. And this one down, Tammy. So what you have in front of you, alleged board policy violations. There is no formal opinion at this time. The actual, I'll let you look at that. The reason why I wanted to bring, this goes hand in hand, hopefully, with our next agenda item as well. So there has been a complaint. I'll let you read that. And again, As a reminder, no school board can promise and guarantee confidentiality when it comes to a formal complaint, because there has to be action taken. So that's why, to the complainant, alleged are privy to the entire complaint as provided and written. Just as we've done in the past, in order to hire a third-party investigator, that vote has to be taken in public. Is there anyone who wants to go into a closed session for discussion? Board members, is there anyone who wants to go into a closed session for discussion? Zero closed session. Recommended action is to appoint a third-party investigator to investigate the alleged board policy violations. Keep in mind, hiring that third party we have that in our next agenda item as well. That's actually selecting, but the motion made is to move forward on an action for what you have in front of you. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call in order to move forward with the investigation in regards to the formal complaint or board policy violations. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bieshke?
Yes.
Mrs. Breezy?
Yes.
Ms. Castillo?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
No.
Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Sawatsky?
No.
4 yes votes, 2 votes opposed.
Motion has passed to move forward. Next step would be to select a third-party investigator. I'd like to make a motion to wrap the two together. We're already hiring a third-party investigator, and now tonight we're selecting for agenda item number 8. Is there any objection to hiring one investigator as opposed to 2? Item number 8 is to hire a third-party investigator. We were going to receive a list from previous discussion on January 26th. Ramsey, in order to select a third-party investigator to investigate alleged board policy violations. action.
These are the, three names, well, two names, one company. That we can choose for the. This is what I did not have at our last meeting. And I didn't make copies, so I just hand wrote it. I guess it can go as a 1, 2, or 3. Will we take a vote on each?
So the recommended action is to actually select the individual person. We've already went past the voting motion to get to this point for both alleged board policy violations. I guess, so we can move on to a discussion or questions. Actually, I have a question for Tammy. Tammy, since you've worked with any or other attorneys, do you know any of them that you have listed?
No.
So you wouldn't be able to vouch, kind of like what you did for Talgenhoff?
No. Not at all.
I would suggest we go with number 1 since he's local. Would certainly allow for less travel expenses associated with the other 2. Also would like to see it done expediently.
Bob, I'm sorry, I can't understand you. You said the first, oh.
Yeah, because they're local.
If it's local, Tammy, you still don't know? I'm looking for someone to vouch from like you did before.
Yeah.
Well, we only have names, so it's not like we've got
Yeah.
a dossier on either one, any of them, so.
We really don't want anybody to know anybody, right? That was the whole point. I agree with 1. Or 3 because of their title.
So, or see you like, for both of them. Or-
Okay, so moving forward with,
Furthest, so it's not.
and 2, do we, well, even though all of that just said about Tagenhoff, but, do we want him?
It's necessary.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No?
I wouldn't say, yeah.
Tammy?
What? I'm sorry.
Toya brought up, would we want Talgenhoff to take care of everything?
Which one was he?
I think that we were trying to find somebody who's new to the situation and neutral, correct?
just
Or
mentioned that
somebody.
since we had all met him. No.
No.
She was saying the gentleman before.
To bring him back.
She's asking if you,
Bring him back? Yeah, we could. Guess it'd be up to the whole board if they would want to. And we already know him, we know how he works, so I would say if he's willing to, I would say bring him back, yes.
Is that an option with, oh, well, we optioned it.
that's a good
It's
point.
just really not up to me. I mean, what do you think, you guys? I mean, everybody has to have opinion on it. Do we just get somebody new or see about bringing him back?
I say, well, I agree with Bob with one.
I would say not local. No one local because of the news.
No one's probably gonna see us regardless. But the news really doesn't have anything to do with that kind of investigation either.
Who was that? Who's that?
For either one of the investigations that we're looking for.
Mm.
We've used Raymond in the past. I think that they would be a reputable organization to deal with. I would also be concerned about Mr. Talmanoff's $350 an hour billing rate.
So let's do a vote then. See if there's a second for each one of them.
Let's just get a consensus.
I could just get a consensus. Obviously, the consensus was no for Talbot.
Right.
And the most local, number one. I say no to local.
My other option was 3 because of their title.
Mine is 3.
Any objection to number 3?
Are you just looking for a motion now, or what? Are you trying to build?
Taking a consensus. Instead, we do every single one. We could vote and see if there's a second on every single one and then vote individually.
Well, we don't know anything about any of them, so that's why I suggested we go with the number 1, because he's from Raymond. He's local.
And we say locals no due to the news.
Pardon?
Local, the objection would be because of the news and how public everything is.
So Bob, do you know him?
No, I don't.
You've worked with him before? Either of them?
No.
We worked with
Raymond, the group.
Raymond, yeah.
We're looking for somebody to do an analysis about what's being alleged versus, the reality of the situation. Well, the news hasn't, I don't see that as being an issue, personally.
And if we worked with Raymond, it probably,
I think we just need to make a motion and move on. I mean, if I had the resumes of each one of these groups or people or whatever, I'd be able to do some analysis and come back and say, yeah, this is the best fit. But at the end of the day, we've got names and we've got locations, so I'm saying all things being equal, let's go based on distance and let's press on.
One sounds good to me.
And 1, 2, or 3?
I would say number 1.
Carmen?
If we had to pick from those three, I say number one.
Say it again.
Number one.
Carmen?
I'm fine with one.
I'm
So
fine.
then,
And also,
the recommended action then is to hire a third-party investigators you have in front of you as the number one slot there to investigate alleged board policy violations as discussed on January 26th.
And today,
And as discussed, or I'm sorry, as presented tonight, alleged board policy violations. That way only one investigator is hired to handle the various complaints. That is the recommended action.
Can I ask that we designate a signator for the contract, please?
Say that again?
Who will sign the contract, please?
could it move on to the?
We could move, it'd be Brentoya.
Okay, can you add that to the motion, please?
And Vice President would sign the contract for the multiple board policy, alleged board policy violations.
Thank you.
That's your motion?
Yes, that's the motion.
I will support.
Carmen, second. My motion. Any other questions or discussion on the third-party investigator for both the multiple alleged board policy violations presented to us, board? It would be slot number one. Hearing none, we can do a roll call.
Mrs. Bieshke?
Yes.
Mrs. Breemzy?
yes.
Ms. Castillo?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes?
Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Swatsky?
Yes.
6 votes yes, 0 votes opposed.
Motion has passed.
You need these?
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Item number 9, the Wi-Fi upgrades. Whelton?
So E-rate is a tax that we all pay, and for once, we're getting money back. We apply for a grant, and that funding pays for 85% of district digital projects that have to do with infrastructure. So our infrastructure tends to be around switches and things that operate our internet service and phone services here. So we have a couple of bids that are out there and just need to approve them. The first is the bid from Vector. Vector does wireless racks and cabling. And this bid would be $14,387.50, of which we would pay 15% of that. So not a bad deal. The second one is Moss Technologies, and that's $76,705.27. And again, we would pay 15% of that for that part of the cabling upgrades at the high school. Those are network switches. And those of you that know what network switches are, you're definitely smarter than me. They are not cheap, though. So need a motion to approve the bids with Vector and Moss for E-rate funding.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion or any questions for Mark, please, in regards to replacing the network switches at all the buildings, the recommended bids that's on the table?
Is the switches just in, it's just time for an update? Are they working improperly? Are they not working? What's going on?
So everything is on a schedule for this, so with the computer and the digital pieces that are in the closets. And so as we continue to advance, one building needs to get new switches and new cabling, new things, and then 5 years later, we're getting new switches, new cabling. It's a rotating process. And so we've been good in a good situation with that, with E-rate being able to pay for a majority of that. Example would be the Wi-Fi improvements that happened at Atkins and in the high school. So switches do go bad. We have had a switch go bad from a lightning strike before. They're very expensive, but they are keeping up with technology, is what it is.
Are they on warranty? Did that get replaced?
For the,
Warranty, the one that got struck by lightning, was it a warranty?
well, we made an insurance claim on that because there was a little more involved because it was lighting out on the football field and stuff too. But yeah, that was covered. But just in general, the switches aren't indefinite.
So is the high school okay? Because it's not on here, so there's switch back there.
We just completed that round for the high school 2 years ago, so now we're back to Atkins was last year, and now this year it's Thomas White for the switches.
Thomas White's Atkins, Abbott.
So Mark, what you and I had talked about in regards to the amount, the 13, you want to explain that a little bit to the rest of the board?
So 85%, it's not, there isn't a final amount because they haven't finished, but it's 85%. So 85% of 91,452.46 is the E-rate that we get from the federal government would cover $76,705.27 of that.
Okay,
So we're paying 13,000 and
so
getting.
that's all we have to do
$91,000.
is out of pocket is the number here.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory, I know you told me, but this is the grant's guaranteed?
It's a 5-year rolling grant. So last year we rewrote the grant for the next 5 years. So every year the superintendent will be bringing this to you.
Right now, this is just to spend this year's funds, correct?
Yeah, the 2026 funds. Or 26, 27.
And if we don't spend the money, the $13,717, we don't get the rest either.
You get nada.
We get nothing. So in order to get the $90,000, we have to spend 13. Correct?
Pretty good deal. Correct.
Is this budgeted?
This is 26, so
It'll be in this budget this summer.
Okay, thank you.
Do they tax us on that? No. Okay.
No.
Any other questions? Recommended action is moved to accept the recommendation from the ISD to award the first bid to Vector for wireless at Thomas White and a cabinet replacement at Atkins, as well as Moss to replace network switching at all the buildings for that amount of $13,717.87. When ready for roll call, please.
Mrs. Bieshke?
Yes.
Mrs. Breemsy?
Yes.
Ms. Castillo?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Sawatsky?
Yes.
We have 6 votes yes, 0 votes opposed.
Motion is passed. For recommended action on those bids there. Consent agenda, January 2026 check register, January 2026 board report, board briefing and informational session minutes, and the personnel report. The recommended action is to move to approve consent agenda as presented in your board packet.
So moved.
Support. Any questions or discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, roll call when ready.
Mrs. Bieshke?
Yes.
Mrs. Breemsy?
Yes.
Ms. Castillo?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
No.
Ms. Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Sawatsky?
Yes.
We have 5 votes yes, 1 vote opposed.
Consent agenda has passed as presented. Moving on, Mark, other superintendent updates.
Just clarity, the motion was superintendent comments last.
Comments.
And so I do want to reach out and invite again communication with board members. The analysis by Alan Telgenhoff is we need to do some communication in a more efficient way. And not everything can be official in front of everybody all the time. And that is eroding our ability to actually have like up-to-date, in-the-moment conversations. Now, I'm not forcing anybody to have those conversations, but there's a lot going on that you have questions on. And I was able to hear a little bit about that. But in reality, just reaching out and having conversations will probably fill those gaps. And so attending conferences and having missing information that the superintendent isn't aware you're looking for is not easy. I'm not a mind reader, and there are no defined issuances that exist for superintendents. So board members, please reach out and communicate. Ms. Morales did bring up in the shared email about February 23rd. bringing items of which you would like to know specifically about the district. That would be helpful. And it also allows time for me to work with the administration on getting the information in advance. A lot is going on. I believe I used the words where is it here? The timeline is tightening rapidly, and I don't think I could say it any better. So with the timeline tightening rapidly, things such as due dates for the partnership agreement items are coming up quick, and those decisions come up really quick. And if it's February today, it's March tomorrow, and you might as well consider it almost April right now, because March has spring break in it, and everybody is on a tremendous trajectory to push. And by the time we get around to each board meeting, it's clearly too late for us to communicate when we get out here, because we're not actually in a discussion phase until we get to maybe board comments. And that seems to take a long time lately to get to that point. So please reach out, please connect. I'm not opposed to dinner. I just don't go to Cracker Barrel. But other than that, I'm happy to go to dinner, go to breakfast, whatever I can make the time to be able to communicate what it is you need to know in order to function at the highest level for our board. We are not functioning at a high level as a board and an entity, and I'm asking for us to work together to make that happen. It's imperative that we do this for the staff and the students and the community. Further, we were awarded a MyLeap grant from the Michigan Department of Lifelong Education, Advancement, and Potential. It's the Office of Higher Education. Ms. Tan, thank you to her. Thank you to the high school for applying. This is for the Universal FAFSA Challenge, and that is something that we need to address as a board as well. In order to receive this money, we do need to have some policies in place that require FAFSA for all students. And FAFSA, if you're not familiar, and your kids aren't college ready or college access ready yet, get ready, because that's the financial aid system for the federal government. And that's a fun one to do every year. I know a lot of you probably know exactly what I mean. Entity counts as of today, 1,429 students. I will ask you to also consider, and please reach out, because if there's ever a time to market and get things going in the marketing space, last year I was not given the go-ahead to market, and that's a decision that's made at the board level. But I would highly recommend that we market our schools, change the narrative, get this information out. By the way, when we left the gap open in the media last spring, we all know who filled it, because I saw their faces on buses and I saw their commercials and their radio programs, and it was Saginaw Public and Carleton. So we will continue to lose kids if we don't promote who we really are, which is a great place to be. Top to bottom, bottom to top. We have top tier, top level talent here. And so I'm looking for direction on that, because now is actually the time that we have to do the marketing pieces the video for marketing that we would put out in May and June would be shot in March, early March. So we're not very far away from it. And then all of that rolls out to ensure that we have a great system coming this fall. So I would like to encourage feedback on that so we can get those things set up. And finally, I think we need to recognize the staff, and we do that very well, but we also have a lot of other staff that are not necessarily Bridgeport employees. And some not good things happen with a substitute that hit the media. And the reality is we have a lot of substitutes and they're phenomenal people. They are doing yeoman's work. They're coming in here to our schools and filling gaps, and they are wonderful people. And I was dismayed by the way that it was portrayed in the media, but the reality is thank you to the people that are willing to step in front of our children when our teachers aren't able to. They keep us running. And my personal feelings on that is that we keep berating people for being educators or coming in and supporting education. If we keep berating them, we're going to berate ourselves into nothingness. Nobody will want to come to schools to work. Nobody will want to work with our children. And I encourage all of us to maintain positive. Everything isn't Care Bears and rainbows, and it isn't like Smurfville every day. But the reality is, it is what we make it. And if we make it painful and ugly, then we can also expect to not really have much of a school system. And then I'm not just talking about Bridgeport, I'm talking about our society. It needs to change to be a positive light. And our substitutes, our bus drivers, these are people that put it on the line on behalf of all of us and on behalf of you as a school board. And I'm proud to work with them, proud to work with everybody. So thank you to all of our non-contract employees that aren't necessarily just Bridgeport employees, but you're part of the family too. And that's greatly appreciated. And that ends my comments. That's a Michigan lifelong learning, lifelong education advancement and potential. In the Office of Higher Ed on the 3rd floor. Nice people, sort of.
Thank you, Mark. Board comment. Bob.
I guess I'd like to say that I am and have been very intentional about limiting my comments to matters of governance and process. And for the record, on February 9th, 2026, I requested that 2 governance-related motions be placed on the board agenda for consideration. These motions and their supporting rationale were previously provided to the board in writing on February 4th. While the board declined to place them on the agenda, my intent remains to promote clarity, consistency, transparency, and adherence to sound governance practices. I continue to believe that open consideration of governance and process matters strengthens the board and protects the district and serves the public interest. For completeness of the record, I respectfully request that the written motions and supporting rationale previously provided to the board be included with the meeting materials or otherwise reflected in the official record. And I also have copies available for the members of the public who wish to view them. I would also like to volunteer for the CSI engagement as the board member. If others of you would do that, I'm sure Mark would appreciate it. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and I want to be a part of it again. Thank you.
Aaron?
I just got a question for Mark. This ad campaign, the video and everything, can you give us a ballpark of what that would cost?
Running a commercial is about 10, I don't know what it is this year, but about 10 to 13 grand on, say, TV5. I'm not advertising for TV5, I'm just saying we have advertised with TV5. And then we have the development of that, probably 4 or 5 grand.
So at roughly 10,000 per student, that's 1.5 children with baby.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Perfect. That's all I have.
Montoya?
Well, thank you, Bob, volunteering to step in. If I had the time, I would. But I feel that our educators are very well equipped to handle that and bring the message forward. But thank you, and I look forward to hearing your report. And thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say welcome back, Mark.
Thank you.
Glad to have you back.
Glad to be here.
I don't know why your contract didn't go through tonight. I have no idea. I don't know. We'll keep trying. Yeah, I'm done.
Carmen? I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, nothing. So to end, was it too long? We're at 8:16. I agree with Montoya, what she's saying, that the state partnership and everything in regards to, this isn't a committee, so there would be no reporting back if Bob's gonna volunteer his own time to hang, like you said, you used the word, a pal, is that what you said? You said a pal. Yeah, that's on his own time, nothing to do with the board, that's to him. The updates, I mean, we'll just continue as you see fit. If you want it, you had mentioned that you wanted them every other. You said once a month you want, or?
I just
you want
appreciate
it-
clarity, and the motion that was made last agenda, or last meeting, was for superintendent comments. And so I think directionally
Regards to
there's a
CSI?
difference. No, I thought you were
that's
talking
what I'm
about
talking
superintendent
about.
comments on the agenda.
No,
That
no,
was
no,
the
that's what I'm
motion.
talking about, in
Oh.
general. We were
In general,
talking
on
about
Friday updates?
partnership. We were talking
Yeah.
about that. So Lang made and asked to have whoever was involved at that meeting, he said, could he present? And Garcia, you asked that if Garcia could present, but I don't have a problem. If you present, I mean, that's up to you. And then you had mentioned, I mean, do you want to do it only when it's needed, every meeting? Should we have that on the, I mean, that's up to you.
Just to be clear, there isn't that much gonna happen in every 2 weeks to report on, like we had a meeting or something of that nature.
How about just when you have something done?
Yeah, when we have the plan, that would be good. And I'm looking at Andrew, so when we got the plan, and I don't think it's a problem to have Garcia report out on data pieces. I think that would be a good thing. And
Okay.
so, but I also don't have a problem doing it either.
Yeah,
Whatever works
yeah,
for everybody as far as informational.
got you, yeah. So that wouldn't, and then if anybody else wants to ever join at any time, when you have, let Mark know, so he can get you the dates and times to go in if you want. At any time, doesn't have to be, like you said, the
Will
PAL.
you email us those dates and times?
Yes, I can share as far out as I have. I lost a lot of that, but I will.
Thank you.
There you go. So in regards to the motions that failed tonight, there's no precedence to continue to add, or to add, that is, any motions that have failed, besides the fact of when it's listed on the agenda for the minutes, motions have failed. So there's no other discussion at this time, and there's nothing that needs to be out there. Everybody can do a motion. So we'll just continue on, and we are adjourned.